Hey guys, it's Tension. This is going to be more of a first time build guide. I've never built a PC before, but this is months of research and buying different stuff for what I want a PC to do. This is going to be as a me being a first time PC builder, kind of some of the stuff that I'm going to go through. We're going to start by unboxing all this and then we will get to building it. So we'll start with the Deepcool liquid cooler. Start off good packaging, good padding. There's these two fans. I'll say these are two 120s, but we have RGB fans to replace these. So mounting brackets, connectors for that. We're going to be using AMD chips, so we will not need this. There we go. We won't need the Intel section. So we'll keep that for later. Everything nice and packaged. Got a good spread of thermal paste on there, but we did get some other thermal paste just in case it didn't come with it. So now we got that out, we'll set it to the side. Let's see, I guess we can start. Next thing we can do is look at the case. I went with also a Deepcool, but a CH370. From what I was reading, it's good cooling, good space to work in, and it has a modular front grille that you can change the design. Not much, but you can change the design of it. So we'll start. Try to do this as gentle as possible. Out. Pull these apart. Front grill. So this case has got two USB ports, mic and audio, reset, power button, nothing big. But the front grille, this is what I was talking about. It's not much of a change, but you can get a little bit of a different front if you want it. You've got a mesh behind there. Oh. magnetic side plate, tempered glass. Put that right there. So, well, actually, we'll just set that out of the way completely so we don't break that. So, small compact case, nothing. You've got a screen right here. It's removable and can be cleaned. Yeah. See, you got a GPU support bracket for your longer GPUs. Thumb screws for your rear panel. Decent amount of room for cable management. Wouldn't say the best, but you got a slot right here for a 2.5-inch drive and a slot right here for a 2.5-inch drive. Then you got a tray on the bottom that can hold two 3.5-inch hard drives. We'll go ahead and slap that back on for now. Just until we get everything unboxed, and then we'll, oh, magnetic top filter, so for easy cleaning. The radiator is going to go up in the top of the case right here, and then we're going to have 3 120s in the front, 2 120s on the radiator here, and then we're going to replace this fan with another 120. We decided to go with Corsair Vengeance 216 32 gig pack, 32 megahertz. Nothing big, DDR4, nothing overly over the top. So this was more of a, not a over the top PC, but more of a budget build. Something that gets you gaming with decent frame rates and decent resolution. So nothing over the top, but something that would be good enough for me. We'll save motherboard, that. We'll go and start with these. These are, we won't even unbox these. So for my boot drive, we've got a PCI 4x4 1TB Team Group. And for mass storage for games, we went with a 2TB Crucial P3. Never really heard anything bad about Crucial. I must say, I think a lot of our stuff we got is Crucial. No, just this. So, start with the power supply with the Corsair 750 ATX power supply. I did want to go with the full modular for making cable management a lot easier, because I can choose which cables I want to run out of all those. I don't have to have them all hooked up, and I can pick and choose and add when I need to. So to the side, always handy. Good old zip ties. There we go, all cleaned up. Safety compliance. Power cable. And well packed, all of it is really. All of it's nice, secure, good, thick foam. Everything locked in the box, no wiggle room. There's not really anything that has any shake in any of the boxes. See, got any shake? Nope, no noises, so hopefully everything in there is good. Motherboard, PCIe, CPU, SATA, all that. So we should be, this should be more than enough to handle what we got going, for CPU, we went with the Ryzen 5700X. I did not want to run integrated graphics. We've got a RTX 3060 to do that, so we just went with a non-graphics 5700. Should be plenty for what we got. For gaming, that will be the bottleneck for this setup, so later, since I do have a motherboard that's an AM4 chipset, I do plan on moving this up to a 5950X, which will put the bottleneck on the GPU and not the CPU. So that'll be good. That way that won't be running off the top all the time. So like I said, we're running NVIDIA MSI RTX 3060. Whew, my bad. This is the 12 gig version. More foam, and more foam. Oh, nice little packet sent from them. Quick start guide. Side program. That's it for that paperwork. And I'm not actually going to take this out of the package yet. We're going to wait until right before we put it in. I don't want no chance of anything getting damaged. Like I said, it's my first time, so I don't know what I can and can't get away with. So we're just going to do this, try to do this as clean as possible. Looks like one 8-pin connector, an HDMI, and 3 display ports. Does come with a cover for your PCIe, so that's nice. Everything's nice and protected. Good fans. Not heard anything bad from these graphics cards, so hopefully. I know when they first came out they were an absolute monstrosity to try to get a hold of, but I want to say I picked this one up for less than $250 off Newegg on sale. I don't know what the game was before, but now they're pretty easy to get a hold of. So we'll set this off to the side. So we went with MSI Mag B550 Mortar Max with Wi-Fi. I don't need the Wi-Fi, but there might be a time where I do. So I just kind of tried future-proofing this. Hopefully I can always stay connected, but you never know what happens, so. Alright. I don't want that tape sticking to anything. Put it over on itself. So. Packaging just a wee bit tight, but that's fine. Let's see, what else do we got in here? I need to find another box to put this on until I get the rest of this out. So we'll set that right there. Let's see what else is in this box. There we go. Knew I seen something, just didn't know where it was. Let's see what we got. Oh, and it does have Wi-Fi 6. So you got your Wi-Fi antenna, M.2 ports, standoffs for them. I'll say I'm not really for sure about these, but that's one reason why we have all this installation guides. Well, not so much the stickers; those are just for fun. So what does this warranty card looks like? Let's see, we have. Assuming this might be a little chip. So there's the AMD drivers, motherboard drivers. Yeah, that's the biggest thing about your first time. Make sure you read and you know kind of what you're getting into. I've watched a lot of videos on it, but doing it and seeing it are two different things. So it's just one thing to know about your motherboard. Like these cables, I don't know what they go to, but I'll sift through here and we'll figure them out. Yep. So that's everything unboxed. I'm gonna get all this stuff cleaned up a little bit, do a little reading. For you all, it'll be a few seconds. For me, be probably about 30 minutes to try to get all this situated and in a orientation where we can go through this decently quick. I don't want to take up too much time, but we'll go through this as quick as we can, try to get everything cleaned up and everything laid out in a good order. So, oh, I almost forgot, we got some RGB fans, all of them ring light, I think so. They were all ring lit, 6 of them with a controller. So, with the nice little ring light around the outside. So, we'll see how those go. They might be good, they might be bad. Ain't nothing to know but just to find out. So, I'll be back with y'all in a second. Gonna read up on that. Figure out what these are. That shouldn't be too hard. And get some of this stuff organized so we can put it all together. Alright, so after reading a little bit on the cooler, the fans, the motherboard, found out what cables I needed, what I didn't need, and I think we're ready to get started. So, first off, I'm going to start with the RAM. I thought this would be easy to open. There we go. So like I said, we went with 2 sticks, Corsair Vengeance DDR4, 16 gigs each. Put this in, just put that out. We're just going to give it a little push. We hear the click. I'm going to open up these. Do this one the same exact way. Not a whole lot of pressure, just a little bit of pressure though. Alright, so now we're going to go to the CPU. And there's a couple things we need to do with this first. So for our cooler, we need to remove this bracket and that bracket. We do have replacements for those. I do have it sitting on the motherboard box. And I kind of pre-did a lot of the stuff to make it a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Now, it did give me a light, so when we start working in the case, a little bit easier to see. So no, the lighting is not the best right now, but so we'll go ahead and get these ready. That one. one. All the ones with studs on them. All those little studs. That's what we're going to use. Just to keep that back plate in place while we get everything else situated. I'm not using no fancy tools, just knife fix-it kit that I bought forever ago. To do little work, I bought a Steam Deck, and that was how I replaced the drive in it for a 1 terabyte SSD. But besides that, there's not much in the way of computers that I've actually done. So maybe not a complete novice, but beginner nonetheless. We got these off. Just to make sure that back plate doesn't go anywhere, we're going to go ahead and throw these studs on. Try to get a little bit of even pressure here and try not to drop it on anything. But these aren't the fanciest components. I think the fans, a lot of good reviews on Amazon, but they're no name brand, no Corsair, no Deepcool, anything like that. But they're a decent price. It's something that you don't have to have a huge budget to do. So what we did was put in these 4 studs right here, just to hold on this back plate to keep it from falling off. We'll give those one good hand tight. Then we'll start with, nope, got ahead of myself. I'm gonna put the CPU in. So one thing you need to do is check, make sure you don't see any bent pins before you go to put it in. Because a bent pin would be a very bad day. Very bad day. Right now, I'm just trying to figure out the orientation. I see the little triangle over here. I'm just wanting to make sure that that is it. Like I said, I don't have a whole lot of light, so I'm just trying to double check real quick. There's a gold pin on the corner right there, and that's what I'm trying to get lined up. So we're just going to very easily drop that in. No pressure, give it a little wiggle. Make sure everything's in there good. Now we're locked in. So we are done with that. So now we're going to move on to put our SSDs in. Need a different bit. So I'm going to remove this. Just lay these to the side because we will need those to put it all back on. Try not to let any metal touch. These boards are copper. I don't feel like being the one to break it. Okay, so this one's captured as the standoff screw. Got your thermal pad right there. So this one we're going to use for our boot drive. So for that one we have that Team Group 1 terabyte. Cannot remember the read write speeds on it right off the top of my head. But recommended to me. So we're going to take this. See a little slot here. There's a little slot inside there that'll match. We will take this, just put it in there. Then it felt weird when I did this on my Steam Deck, bending electronics especially like that, but perfectly normal. I thought I looked cockeyed, but it wasn't. So what we're going to do is take this, push it down, get that standoff started. That'll lock down that SSD for us. We'll find our other hole right here, and that little pressure put on that SSD should adhere the thermal pad to it. So now we've got, give those a little snug. Make sure everything's nice and tight. So that's our boot drive installed. So now we're going to move on to our game library. I will be using just a Crucial P3 2 terabyte. Nothing fancy, some you can find fairly cheap. So we're going to take that, and that's going to be our game library. Take that. Stick it in just like we did the other one. The Team Group did not come with a standoff screw, but luckily for me, the Crucial P3 did. So we're going to take that, hold that down, go ahead and screw that down to keep that SSD in place. There we go. So now we have boot drive, we have our game library, and I did that for a couple reasons. This will be in 2, this will be in 1. One, make it easier booting up into Windows, because I can tell the difference between a 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte drive, so I know which one to pick to set my boot on. And 2 terabyte just for more space for games. So now what we're going to do, so over here I've organized all the screws from the case, your SSDs, hard drives, PSU. This case has an option for putting fans right above the PSU. That's what those are for. And then we've got our standoff screws. So, like I said, put a little light in here so it'll hopefully be easier for y'all to see. I've got the GPU bracket moved out of the way for right now because I don't want to take any chances with hitting anything. So I'm going to take this, I'll slowly set in, stick my hand through the back IO area, and just gently move it into place. And that. So this middle standoff right here has a lip on it, which that'll help you center it. So now my back IO plate is through. And I test fitted this before, make sure all my standoffs line up. All 8 of them have a standoff. So we're going to start one at a time. First with the middle one, since it's got the little lip to it. Just to lock it down. Then we're going to make our way around the board. Do each screw, make sure we don't miss any. This video, I don't know if I'm going to do it in 1 part or 2 parts. I want to try to cut it down to do 1 part, but still give enough information for anybody that wants to do this but doesn't want to, you're scared to mess up or scared to break something. I mean, and that is, it's not like these are cheap. You can go very cheap, but it's not like these are $20 machines that you can just throw away and get another one. So I understand being scared, but it just take your time, a little bit of patience, and it should all work out just fine. So now, got all that in. We're going to start trying to hook up some of our front I/O. So these are the brackets that are going to be mounting on the cooler itself that are then going to sit on those standoffs from earlier. And then these are going to hold it down. It came with a lot of ties. PSU came with zip ties, the case came with zip ties, everything came with zip ties. Okay, so we're going to stand this up. And we're going to try to do this the best we can. So, and I'll put links in the description for the videos that I used for trying to learn. So, said they might be helpful to you, they might not. But, so that doesn't look like it's going to be able to bend there. So we're going to have to run that a different way. Probably through here. And we just gotta be careful not to bend any pins when we're hooking this up. So, I'll take this. This, like I said, this is my first computer. This probably isn't gonna be, there's probably gonna be some criticism for cable management, or you could have got a 90, but this is my first computer. It's a learning curve from here. So now that's in. So we'll try to keep that kind of tucked away right there, and hopefully that'll be a nice, won't be too noticeable right there. And there is something that I was reading and have forgot. So this is what I was looking for. Pin layout for your motherboard. So the pins, they read like this, but the pins are laid out actually like this. And I've went through and I've checked them, and we're going to take these 3, stick them up through the bottom right here. There's a bottom little hole in this case. Just want to take these, and I'm going to pull all the slack through for right now. And then we've got our mic and audio jack. That'll be hooked up in the back, so we'll go and stick that through. Okay, so we're going to go and pull all that slack through for right now, just so I'm not trying to fight with it. So, now we got all that through. Each one of these is labeled LEDs, reset switch, power switch. And every power supply is different, or every motherboard's different. So that's why the instructions are always nice. So we've got our HDD LED, positive, negative, on the bottom left, 2 pins. So we'll find our HDD, and the text is very small. I do not know if this will show up, but it says HDD LED, and there is a plus and minus sign on each side of it. So we're going to take that and correlate it to our little cheat sheet that came with the motherboard. Positives on my left, so we're going to take that and try our best not to bend these pins. See if I can get a better angle for you. There's not really much room to work here, especially with these tiny pins. So yes, positives on the left. So there's our front IO headers done. The reset switch, if we look over here, a reset switch is the next two, right next to it. So we're going to take that. There's not a positive and negative on that one, so we're just going to put letters facing straight down on it. We'll try to be as careful as we can not to bend these pins. Okay, so make sure they're all straight. Okay. Now we've got our power switch. So we're going to skip the front 2 pins because we don't have no power LED at the front on our front button. So our power switch, there's no positive or negative to it. We're just going to match the theme of everything going on here, and we're going to do the text facing down. That way it's nice and uniform. Make sure you've got the pins on the right spot. There we go. So that's all hooked up. And our audio jack, after doing some digging through that, there's a J audio right in the bottom left hand corner right down here. And I was looking through all the different pins and could only find one with the same pin pattern as this one. So the instructions didn't say anything about it. The motherboard didn't say anything about it. So we are going to go through process of elimination. We're missing the 4th from the right, or the 4th from the left to the right. Missing the 4th one on the top. So you can see right there, we're going to line that missing pin up with the missing pin down here. And try not to bend anything. Set that in. Give it a little wiggle and push, but we don't want to push too hard. And now we're in. So that's front IO hooked up. So we're going to take this now. Now we got all that hooked up. And we're going to pull those slack cables. Mine in the front to make sure we don't twist anything up. We're going to pull all those cables back through. Get them nice and cleaned up. Make sure nothing catches on the way out. We don't want nothing yanked. Don't want to pull anything. We just want to be nice and easy pulling all the cables back. So there we go. All our cables are ran back through. And okay, so GoPro died. I'm sorry. The whole thing I did was finish up putting that fan in. I ran the wire up the top, and then I put the fans on the radiator and kind of worked out how I was going to run the tubes and all that. So now all we're gonna have to do is feed this fan wire through here, because we're going to be running all these to a singular controller so they all run in sync. I'm pretty sure the MSI Mag, the motherboard I have, comes with. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put this, we're going to put the radiator up top here. I've already got the fans on. Then after this, I'll do some cable management and we'll come back when I've got the computer hooked up. So let's go ahead and get this radiator in. I already sort of pre-checked everything, spaced it out, made sure everything's going to work. See how I want to run my tubes to not interfere with anything. So once we get this second screw in there, it'll be a little bit easier. I can move my hand and y'all be able to see. Okay, so there we go. Now I can move my hand and y'all can kind of see what's going on here. It's coming together. It's looking all right. It's just been taking time. I've been taking my time. I don't want to mess anything up, so we've just been going slow and steady. So once we get this radiator hooked in, we'll get the CPU block hooked in, the cooler on, and then I'm going to do some cable management, show y'all how it turned out. Then we will start putting Windows and updating the BIOS on the motherboard. So okay, so now that the radiator's in, everything's cleared. I've got space back here. My fan cables are ran to the back. Now it's time to finish that, which I'll have to take off this plastic cover, put the mounting bracket on for that, and then we'll see what we got from there. So see if I can't get this into frame. So at this point is when I'm going to be very careful, because I do not want to mess up any of the thermal paste that they have pre-applied there. So if we, so they've got a preset thermal paste there. So see, can these only go one way? No, they cannot. So we are going to mount ours, the pipes out the bottom. So we're going to mount these up top just like this. I might need the smaller bit for this, but we shall see. Nope. Bigger bit will work just fine and gets a nice good seat in that screw. My channel's too small to be sponsored by anybody. I just really enjoy the iFixit kit. They have enough bits for what you need. I don't have the big kit, just have the small kit. Nothing expensive, nothing over the top. Just the magnetic tips makes everything a lot easier. So let's see what we can get done. I want to make sure all these are nice and tight. So one side is countersunk for the head of the screw to give a nice flush feel on all of them. So you want to make sure you do have the countersunk if the cooler you're using has a bracket like this. You just want to pay attention to the orientation, make sure you got it right. There's no need to rush this. The computer can start up any day, but if you mess it up, you might have wished you took your time. So I'm going to go ahead and get these thumb screws out and get them ready, because when I put this on, we'll have to start screwing these down, which these go to the studs that we put on earlier. We're going to take this and slide it right over top right there. Make sure we're lined up pretty decent. Alright, now we're going to take these thumb screws. Let's see if the magnet and the iFixit. Nope. The magnet and the iFixit kit cannot. Oh, it might. So now we're going to take this and screw this on. Not too tight, just get it snug for right now until we get all of them on. Once we get all of them on, then we can start tightening them down each a little at a time. So we'll get this side corner here. Okay, we just got that barely tight right now. We're going to go and get these other ones on, and then we'll start worrying about the wiring. Because we'll run the wiring right up by the RAM and up the top. So let's get this last one in. Oh. Tubes are in the way, we'll move those out of the way for a second. We will get that screwed in. So now we got them all screwed in, we'll just go around, screw them all in a little at a time. We want nice even pressure across that whole CPU. If not, thermal paste probably won't spread as well. Luckily for us, that CPU, the cooler, has good pre-spread amount of thermal paste. And before we do anything, when we start up and get into the BIOS, we're going to let it run for a second just to make sure all this is working correctly, because we don't want to be updating the motherboard BIOS and have it crash or anything, because that would be an absolute miserable experience. One that I don't know how to fix. So now we're going to take our cables So we do have an RGB. This is the infinity mirror. So we're going to take the pump right here, hook it up top here to the pump on the board. Okay, we'll try to route this up and through the back. We'll deal with that when we get to the cable management, but right now we'll just have it kind of looped up the top here. We're also going to be, so luckily this cooler came with a splitter for the RGB, so I can hook this into the RGB on the board and then have this pass through to the controller, which will give all my RGB. We'll be working on these, we'll be all operating at the same, through the same thing. Won't be no mismatched colors, everything will be the exact same, which uniformity is nice. Okay, we got it on the pins. Now it's just a matter of getting it seated all the way down on there. So I can't quite get my finger in there. So we're going to, there we go. That's seated all the way in. We're going to pass that plug through to the back because remember we're going to hook that up to the controller. And then our extra wire we're also going to pass through back there. Try to keep the cables nice and tidy. Then when we do the cable management, I'm going to try to organize them the best I can without putting too much tension on any one wire. Hopefully it turns out looking good, but if it doesn't, then I really don't know what to say. So we can hook this around here and come around there. That'll give us plenty of room along with cleaner look. I think I probably should have put those behind the standoff for. So, yeah, probably should have put that behind the, made for a lot cleaner. So but that's everything installed for the most part. I'm gonna start some cable managing on the back, and when we come back, I will kind of show you how I got the cables managed, and then we'll put it on the screen and see what happens. Okay, so you can see kind of how I routed the cables. I tried not putting too much tension on any of the bigger cables. All zip tied down, and I guess I did the easy thing of the excess, kind of put it down the bottom, but overall it's not a bad thing. I'm going to throw the side panel on, then we'll start it up. Power's hooked up, power supply on. Moment of truth. We got lights. Let's see. Waiting for first post now. Hey guys, that small issue I found was I needed a BIOS update to even get the CPU to be recognized. So I did that first BIOS update, which downloaded it to the computer. I had a laptop on hand and formatted it through Rufus to change it to FAT32, and then put the file on there. For this one, I had to rename the file msi.rom. Put it in the back, did the BIOS flash, and got that all set up. It turned on. Finally gave me the boot screen. Then I re-downloaded the newest BIOS and put it in. So now we're waiting on that to finish downloading. Okay, so now you can see up here in the top right, we do have the newest BIOS. Our memory, we are running 2 Stix Corsair. They are supposed to be at 32, but we'll fix that later. Got both of my storage devices on there, my 1 terabyte and my 2 terabyte mass storage. So we will So now let's see if our Windows Media Tool is right. We'll boot into that.